Maintained a huge amount of artistic control, and even when there were labels paying for music, it was sort of a very, very well understood of what kind of band we are, who we are as musicians and artists. So it was never like we had to like get music okayed or got sent back into the studio to make a song more commercial or some crap like that. You know what I mean? Worldwide, and we sort of started this little worldwide record label called MMI. We sort of have ventured out and done most of our digital deals with like people like iTunes, sort of directly without labels involved, and so our business is very, very different, and it means a lot more work, a lot more investment, and a lot more return. It feels awesome because everyone in the music industry is like in peril and like running around trying to figure out how the fuck they're going to pay their condo mortgage, and meanwhile like music fans are like loving life because there's more music than ever, and musicians that are fortunate enough to be in the position of cutting out all the middlemen can do so, and I think we're proving that as we go. Somehow the musicians got it in their head that like, you know, some businessman's going to make them big and rich and famous, and they'll never actually have to talk to any fans.
Yeah.
And that's kind of retarded. It's like, so you're saying you want your relationship with a businessman more than a music fan.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make a lot of sense to us, you know, like, we're totally into the idea of who our fans are and why, and the fact is, like, the plain reality is we're going to travel around the world and hang out with these people in a room every fucking day.
Yeah.
So I want to know who you are and have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes more sense to us.
Metric shows I'm always looking for the areas of trouble. There's one right there. There's one right there. There's one right here. I haven't seen anything over here yet. There's trouble. Made a new record for you.
I think that there was a little less sort of musical trickery and wizardry involved in this one, in the sense that we didn't, if we felt like the emotion of the song wasn't coming across properly, we didn't add things to that moment in the music. We took things away from that moment in the music, and that was a sort of a very like fundamental shift for us. You know? We wanted the thing that you get first when you hear the song is not to be like impressed by the band or impressed by the sound or anything. We wanted you to feel the emotional intention behind the song itself. And if you couldn't feel that, then there was a problem. You know, and we didn't want to hide it with like a thing that goes. You know what I mean? Like you don't feel anything when you hear. If you're getting the emotion already, and then you hear the thing, then it's cool. You know, but not like instead of the heart of it.
On the day we were.
We actually had this test called the campfire test all the way through the making of the record, where if we couldn't play the song on an acoustic guitar and a vocal, then the song was not working. It had to stand up completely by itself before you even like set up a microphone anywhere.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, then we had to address like the chord change or the lyric. Once that happens, it becomes much easier to build the song around, because what's working is naturally working. And as soon as you play something that you're like, that's a really cool sound, but it's like, but why? Like, is the music benefiting from it? No. It's like, so then let's not put it in just because it's a cool sound. There's like 4 billion cool sounds that you can achieve with like a G5 and a microphone. I think that the campfire test was a really cool thing to do on this record. I don't know that we'll continue to do it that way. I don't think that's the only way to write songs.
Yeah.
I think that it was definitely a cool approach, and we might employ it again when sort of as like a writing tool. Like if something's not working in the song, you're like, okay, let's get the acoustic guitar out and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
But there's a million ways to write music. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it was an old song of yours that Metric tried to play for Old World Underground. We recorded it with Mike Andrews.
You guys make it sound like Outcast.
Yeah, and it didn't.
Really limited yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And we had this like, you know the beat to like, and the whole world loves you when you don't get down.
Yeah.
That tune, we had that kind of feel to it, and
It does too.
it definitely got ditched. It didn't catch much of a wind at the time.
No.
That boat didn't sail.
I
So
wrote it on the piano in Vancouver when I was like 8.
Wow.
there you go.
Yeah.
Answers from the Peanut Gallery.
Yeah.
Are any other like Metric songs floating around out there that
Yes.
we have yet to hear?
Black Sheep, every night.
Yeah, well, there's a song called Black Sheep, or Freddie Mercury, we played a lot on a bunch of tours and has sort of lived in a few different incarnations. And we did a full version of it during the recording of this record, but we left it off the record and gave it to the new Edgar Wright film, which is going to be called Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. All the music's curated by Nigel Godrich, and there's some cool people involved in it. Again, it didn't emotionally fit in the record, for whatever reason. It just stood out a little bit, and it actually, like when they asked for a specific song, it worked so perfectly in the role of what they needed for that movie. So. I kind of feel like everything that I've done was for my own reasons at the time, and if I fucked something up really badly, then I'd probably learn something really amazing from it, and I wouldn't take back any of my mistakes. All I know with us, as this group of four individuals, is that the only thing constant is change, and we like to change all the time.
If you're ever satisfied with the sort of music that you're making, like 100% satisfied,
Make something else.
yeah, it's time to quit.
Yeah,
the
totally,
music, yeah.
totally. Or just like go into some other style of music. It's like I remember thinking really clearly during the making of Live It Out that the distance that Live It Out is from Old World will dictate how much people know we're going to change from record to record. And I consciously made it as different as I could, because then people would understand, not to be like, when a Metric record comes out, they're like, whoa, it's so different than the last one. It's like, no, it's supposed to be, and it always will be. And the one time that you can totally remark is when it's actually really similar.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, that's crazy. It kind of sounds the same. You know what I mean? The thing that I find is like, when bands stay the same, more often than not, it's harder to get better. Like, usually your first thought is your best, you know? And like, the Strokes' first album is their best, like, and how are they supposed to get better at doing that same thing? Like, they destroyed it on the first time around. They were like, what's left? You fucking nailed it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I figured like if by change you open everything up to succeeding at everything you go to.